Seriously, Ngozi matter don't tire me as if she is the only babe. And quite frankly, I am getting exhausted with this entire. But we have to keep our cool and focus on our own plans.
Watch closely. I will scatter the marriage plans. Just pay the price.
Baba, please let the charm be very strong to scatter the marriage. I am truly desperate for this result and I need your help today.
Don't worry, my daughter. Your friend's wedding is already scattered. The patterns have shifted, and the path you were fearing has been cleared away for you now.
Life is really good, thank you, Jesus.
In the great city of Lagos, where traffic rocked like a river and the sun blazed without apology, there lived a young woman named Amarachi Okonkwo. She was the kind of woman people turned to look at twice, not because she tried to be noticed, but because God has decided to be generous on the day He made her. She had two closest friends, Ugozi and BC. They shared secrets, they shared meals, they shared everything. What Amarachi did not know was that every story she had shared on her love life, her two friends were quietly burning, not with happiness for her, but with envy. Ugozi smiled brightly whenever Amarachi talked about her new man and asked God why it was always Amarachi being chosen. Always Amarachi receiving roses and phone calls that lasted to 2 a.m. Loud BC, who danced at every party and made everyone feel welcome. BC carried her envy differently, like a stone at the bottom of a well. But love and envy cannot live in the same heart. And when envy grows stronger, love disappears like wide wind. Every time Amarachi shared news of a new man, of a beautiful date, of a heartfelt conversation on a balcony, she was handing Ugozi and BC the key to something precious, her happiness, her timeline, her trust. She did not know they had quietly learned how to use those keys against her. Emeka had walked into Amarachi's life the way good things sometimes do. Unexpectedly, through a mutual friend's birthday party on a Saturday evening in Lekki, he was tall, reserved, and had the kind of steady smile that made the woman feel safe. He spoke carefully, prayed openly, and within 3 months, he had met Amarachi's mother and called her Mama with the confidence of a man who intended to stay. Amarachi told Ugozi and BC everything. She told them how Emeka surprised her with suya and a handwriting letter on her birthday. 2 full pages, front and back. She told them how he held her hand during her father's illness and sat in the hospital corridor without complaint. She told them how he said one quiet evening on her balcony, Amarachi, I am serious about you. I want to marry you before the year ends. Ugozi smiled and said, wow, that is lovely, my friend. I am happy for you. But her heart did not smile. BC clapped and said, God is truly faithful. This is good news. Emeka began to change in the 8 months. Amarachi assumed it was just stress, probably because of work engagement. Then one Friday night, he called her, Amarachi, I don't think I can do this anymore. I think we want different things. She was quiet for a long time. She was just trying to understand how a man who had called her answers to prayers would just come up with such a decision without any cogent reason. What Amarachi did not know was that Ugozi had quietly followed Emeka on Instagram 2 months after hearing his name. She built a friendship with him carefully, and over weeks of private messages, she fed him with stories that were full of lies. She called Emeka, I love Amarachi like my own blood, but I feel I owe you the truth. She still talks to her ex. I even heard her talking to one the other day. She still have late night calls of different guys. She still goes out with different guys who always come to pick her up one night after another. She said all of this to Emeka just to get his heart away from Amarachi. And Emeka, being a proud man, did not confront Amarachi. He simply withdrew quietly. And because Amarachi did not know what she was defending herself against, she had nothing to say. She just watched him pull away and blame herself, quietly, privately, for things she had never done. Amarachi wondered over this for 3 weeks and even cried because of it. And then her friends also came to console with her, and over a few weeks, she became better. But little did she know that her friends were very happy that she had lost the relationship of the man she wouldn't let them rest about. 2 years passed. Amarachi healed. She traveled to Accra for a long weekend. She began to feel like herself again, not the wounded version, the original. Then came Chidi Eze. If Emeka was steady like a river, Chidi was electric like a storm. He drove a black SUV, wore clean agbada to boardroom meetings, and laughed loudly at his own jokes. The kind of man who filled a room by entering it. He has built his technology company from a single laptop in Yaba to a firm with offices in 3 cities. He saw Amachi at a branding conference in Victoria Island and followed her all the way to the car park to get her number. She turned around and looked at him like he was quite possibly out of his mind. He looked at her like she was exactly what he had been searching for. He flew her to Abuja for her birthday. He introduced her to his mother on a video call from London. The woman smiled and said, "I have heard so much about you, my dear." He began talking about a house, the kind of neighborhood, how many rooms they will need, and the kind of children they should bear, how many boys and how many girls. She told Ugozi and BC again. She could not help it. She was very happy, but BC had been watching, and BC was more dangerous. BC used the old ways. She went to a man in
Don't worry,
motion
my
in
daughter.
Lagos.
Your friend's wedding is already scattered. The patterns have shifted, and the path
She
you were
paid
fearing
what
has
he
been
asked
cleared away
for.
for you
She
now.
came home by noon and did not speak of it. Within weeks, Chidi began to change. Not cold like Emeka, he was warm at 1 hour and cruel at the other. Amarachi began to wonder if she was imagining things. She prayed, she fasted, she searched every conversation looking for what she had done wrong. One Sunday afternoon in a restaurant in Victoria Island, Chidi stared at his food for a long time. "I am sorry, Amarachi. Something inside me keeps saying this isn't right. I look at you and I know I love you. Then something shifts and I feel like I am suffocating. I cannot move forward." He picked up his phone and left her there. She cried for a while and later went back home. She laid on her bed and did not move for a long time. Ngozi and Bisi came home that evening with wine and pepper soup. They heard Amarachi while she cried. They told her that it was setting.
Amarachi, please don't worry. God knows what is best, and frankly, Chidi is not serious enough to deserve the tears you are shedding over him right now.
I swear, all men are the same, and I will have nothing to do with any man again, because I need to focus on my own peace and happiness.
She said it to God. She said to her diary. She said it to her bedroom mirror on a Tuesday morning with clarity. With her tired eyes, she was 31 years old now. She decided she was meant to be remarkable on her own. She built her career, traveled more. Dr. Olufemi Adekoge was sitting in the living room of a family friend when she arrived. He was thoughtful in a different way from Emeka. Machi did not fall fast this time. She tested him. It took 6 months before she allowed herself to say, privately, "This feels different. This might actually be it." Amachi said yes, and this yes felt different, not desperate, not relieved, certain. She was careful about what she shared with Ngozi and Bisi this time because her mom had told her to be careful. Her spirit had grown conscious in a way that her mind had not yet explained. But she was human. She was happy. Some of it leaked out. The introduction ceremony was planned. The date was set. A hall in Surulere was booked. 3 days before the introduction ceremony, Femi's phone rang while he was at Amarachi's apartment. He stepped into the corridor to answer the call. The call lasted for 30 minutes. When he came back, his face had changed. Someone had called his family from an untraceable number. The voice was measured and deeply concerned. The story that Amarachi was not who she presented herself to be. Femi's mother became cold overnight. His elder sister called with warning. His uncle spoke about the importance of character in a wife. And Femi, a good man caught in the web of voices, had grown up respecting everyone. Amarachi came the following morning. He held her hands. Then he looked at her face. "Amarachi, I love you. I believe in you, but my family is not at peace. I cannot build a marriage on a foundation my family has not agreed to stand on. I need more time. Amarachi watched quietly, tears filling her eyes, wondering what exactly was going on. And when she told her mother did not speak for 2 days. Her father closed his bedroom door with quietness of a man who does not trust himself to speak. This time, she did not call Ngozi or Bisi. She just sat on her kitchen floor. 3 weeks after the cancer ceremony, Bisi fell ill. It started quietly, a fever that wouldn't go, weight she kept losing, an emptiness behind her eyes that had not been there before. Doctors ran tests and found nothing there they could clearly name. She grew weaker. The bright laughter that had always defined her disappeared completely. Ngozi visited her in the hospital. Bisi was lying in the bed with a drip in her arm. When she looked at Ngozi and said, I need to tell you something, my friend. I am scared. She told Ngozi everything that he had done and how she went to the man in Mushin. She told her that she had asked him to do a lot to Amarachi, and she said that she believed that the sickness was connected to what she had done. Ngozi sat very still. Then she stood up and walked out of the hospital. She sat in the car parked and wept for a long time. She was not just weeping for BC, she was weeping for her own guilt too, because she had done a lot to Amarachi as well. She was the one who had sent those messages to Emeka. She could no longer hide the truth. And so she drove to Amarachi's house without calling her first. Amarachi opened the door and looked at her face. She said nothing. She stepped back and let her in. They sat in the living room. Ugozi looked at her hands for a while. Then she raised her eyes and said, Amarachi, I have to tell you the truth. And when I finish, you can ask me to leave and never come back. But you deserve to know. She talked for a long time. Amarachi listened without speaking. When Ugozi finished, the room was quiet for a long time. Then Amarachi asked one question. Why? Ugozi answered honestly. She said, because we wanted what you had, and instead of working for our own happiness, we kept destroying yours. I am sorry, my friend. Please forgive me. I was just too afraid to say it. Amarachi stood up. She went to her room and came back with a Bible and her phone. She sat down and looked at Ngozi. Bisi must go back and undo whatever she had done. She said, and tonight I am calling my pastor. He will come here and we will pray for Bisi, for you, and for everything that she had done against my life. She paused. Then she said clearly, but I want you to understand something. After tonight, things between us cannot go back to the way they were. I forgive you, but trust had to be rebuilt slowly. And only if you are willing to be honest from now on do you understand. Ngozi nodded. She could not say much more. The pastor came that night at 10 o'clock. He prayed for nearly 2 hours. It was a deep, thorough prayer, the kind that goes into every corner of the person's life and cleans it out properly. Amarachi wept during the prayer, not from sadness, but from something releasing inside her. A weight she had been carrying for years, without knowing its name, finally lifted. Bisi did what she was asked to do. She went back to the man in Mushin and reversed what she had started. It cost her a lot, and the recovery was slow. But the illness began to leave her slowly. Because it was later to Femi's family, to Femi's mother and his uncle. She told the truth. She told them that she was the one who had made that anonymous call, that everything she had said was a lie, that Amarachi was a good woman who deserved to be received with respect. She drove to their home and delivered the letter herself. Femi read the letter 3 days after it arrived. He sat with it for a long time. He thought about the phone call that had changed everything. 3 days after Ngozi had apologized to Femi's family, Femi went to Amarachi's house. He confronted her with slow words, and then he confronted her and asked for her forgiveness. Amarachi forgave him, and with time, they built a relationship again. In 2 months, they got married and they lived happy ever after.
Yes, I do! Oh my goodness, I am so incredibly happy. This is the best moment of my entire life, and I cannot wait for our future together.